Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hey, Marianica. All right. I know it's shocking. I'm actually on closer to on time today, so I realize that some of you guys may have to catch up, but happy Sunday. I hope you all had a great weekend. Today we're going to draw cards for week 33, and we're going to see what we're going to make. And then we are going to make something, and I don't know what it is yet because we're going to use the cards to decide, from this month's Bargain Bead Box, which has a Saguaro Sunset theme. So you know you can't go wrong when it involves cactus and all that good stuff, right? So hopefully you all had a chance to catch Thursday's anklet. That was a lot of fun. If anybody's interested, I am selling these little bead frames. You get 20 of them for $1.50. Just direct message me, or you know, drop me a comment on a video or something and tell me if you're interested. I was able to get some of the crystals that we were using in that project to fit in some of them. So not all the crystals are the same size. So if you have your strand, look for the smaller ones, and they will fit in the middle of those openings, the little eye openings. Okay, so other announcements. I don't think I have any other announcements. I think everything's on schedule this week. No new sales or anything, so we will just jump right in. Let's go ahead and flip the camera and draw our cards, and then we can have some fun designing our project. All right. Do those cards in a minute, but all right. So this week, for those of you who are new, reminder that we draw cards every Sunday for our project that we make live on Thursday. These cards are the Bead Stash Challenge card decks. We currently have 5 different decks. Now you need the deck 1 before you start, and then everything else sort of builds from there. So we have a color deck that adds all things color. We have a non-jewelry and findings deck that helps you use all those findings that you buy. Findings are basically all your metal components, right? Clasps, charms, those kind of things. It also has you make some of them, and a non-jewelry item would be something similar to our quail that we made last week. I do still have quail kits available if anybody's interested. And our other 2 decks are our Sun and Sea deck, which is all thing beachy and summer vacation, and our Desert Southwest deck, which, you know, honors our Desert Southwest region, the culture, the food, things like that. So all of that stuff is in that deck. So anyways, this week we're going to make a bail. All right. So, you know, I could just make a bail, but I can make a bail and turn it into something else. So, you know, I might make a pendant. You could make a very small bail to put on, you know, earrings. But obviously that's from our non-jewelry and findings deck. We've made some interesting things in the past. So when you draw something like that, where you're making your own finding, consider that the other cards you're drawing will help define what kind of project you're going to make. So the cards, in this case, whatever you draw to put in your project does not have to be part of your bail. It just has to be used in your project, okay? So used cards are what we pull out of our stash to use in our project each week. So we're going to use a magnetic clasp this week. We're going to use head pins in our design. And we're going to use bead caps or cones. So all of those are from our non-jewelry and findings deck. If you're just new, you can draw just one card. If you think that's easier, you could draw 3 cards. You could draw 5 cards, whatever you want. I think 3 is a nice balance. So, hey Janelda, hey Marianica, everybody. I know I started up closer on time today, so, you know, I just confused everybody. Anyways, our third cards are our challenge cards, and these ones are the ones that are really helping boost your creativity, making you try something new, although the used cards can make you try something new. But the challenge adds a design element, or it adds a theme to your project that you have to incorporate. So let's see what we are drawing today. A design with at least 3 different components. Well, you know, since we have 3 different components there, that's gonna be really easy. Now, you know, sometimes the challenge cards kind of throw you something here. Now this one, you know, I can pretty much, with this combination of stuff, I can pretty much do whatever I want to do, right? Because there's no theme here, there's no color here. I can do almost anything I want. Now, if you're looking to help focus you when you're doing, you know, drawing cards and because you're overwhelmed and you want to help focus, this may not be a good draw for that. Except that it's telling me, since I'm using a magnetic clasp, obviously I'm going to make either a bracelet or a necklace, right? But bead caps, head pins, and 3 different components can be most anything. So this is a very unfocused project, which means, like I said, I'll have to do some thinking. Sometimes when I draw the cards, I know exactly where I'm going after I draw the cards. But this one, not so much. So I'm going to be doing a lot of thinking and looking through my stash between now and Thursday. All right. All right, so I thought this month's Bargain Bead Box, we haven't played with our box in a while, is the Saguaro Sunset. I said Sonoran Sunset. Saguaro. Saguaros are those big cactus that look like this. So you know, I love all things cactus. All right, so I thought we would draw cards to see what we're going to make with this today. All right, because, you know, there's all sorts of ideas. Now, I will say there's a lot of red in here, and red is not one of my favorite colors, which is why the cards can be helpful. So let's see what, gotta shuffle the cards. Now, when I draw my other cards, I have all the, for our weekly challenge, I have all the cards from all the decks shuffled in. This is just going to be the cards from the base deck that we're using. Because I find when you're doing, using the cards with like a bead subscription or something, most of them already have a theme like this one does. They already have, you know, a specific set of colors. Now, if you were doing it on your own and not doing it live like I'm going to do, you could certainly add additional things out of your stash. But I really can't do that live very easily, so. Oh, I wondered, Janelda, if you were going to draw cards, though. So you're planning on making up your projects. I know it's hard to, like, just accept that you're going to skip them when we've been doing this for so long, huh? All right, let's see what we're going to make. You know what? I already had told myself if I drew the ring card, I wasn't going to make it today. So I should have just taken it out, but I didn't. All right, so we're going to make a bracelet. I don't want to try to think about a ring today. So it's okay if you're using the cards to put something back if it really just does not appeal to you. Now, when you're using one of these monthly kits, and you're drawing used cards, you may not have cards that reflect what's in the kit. So, like I said, if you were not doing it live like I am, you would probably just go find this stuff in your bead stash and use it. But I can't easily do that without you guys just sitting there. So we are going to just work with what's in here. All right, stretch cord in our design. I can get stretch cord out, and it works with the bracelet, so that works. All right, glass beads. So we do have some glass beads in here. I would also consider, you know, crystal as a type of glass. I don't need the pendants, obviously. I could use that though. All right, so we're gonna use stretch card, we're gonna use glass and wire. Okay, well, we can put a dangle or something on there, that'll work, right? So let's work on that. Although I need to look through. There may not be. This month the things were kind of big, so maybe I'll look in my I may be able to pull something out. You know what? No. We're gonna stick with the box. Next card up was use spacer beads. We're gonna use spacer beads. So these are official spacer beads that are in there, but you know, you can use small beads as spacer beads too. So, all right, let's see if we can get a challenge that works with this. You know, normally using wire would not be a problem, and I you know, I have done the combination of wire and I don't know, do I? You know what? I'm gonna put the wire card back. We'll do 4 cards, okay? Just to make this more interesting. Design something for a party. You know what? I'm gonna put that back because we always design something for a party. Holiday, well, you know, let's see. We can, like we said, there's lots of red here. We could make something red, or I don't know. We'll have to think about what holiday, right? All right, so let me grab my stretch cord. I like to use Stretch Magic 0.7 millimeter, so we're going to do that. All right, I'm not going to use these big dangles, but oh, maybe we can use one of those as a dangle. All right, let's see. So we've got the brace. Well, we're going to work on the bracelet. We got the stretch cord. So, you know, this particular one, you don't get like wires or, you know, cording, stringy materials to use other than chain. I'm going to put the, I don't think we need the chain. Definitely don't need all these pendants though. So let me, don't need the clasp. We're not going to use these giant pendants. we are going to make something with this. Woohoo! Yeah, at some point. Not today. Alright. So, wire. I have some antique wire here, so we'll just use antique copper, go with the other stuff. I just so this is like red rainbow jasper. You could do something with like red and white. Yes, Janelle, the Halloween comes soon, but I don't think I don't think this plays to that. That might be a little harder to get through here. All right, so our only glass bead choices here are these red rectangles. We have these spacer I'll have to look and see how those would look. Actually, I think they'll go really well with this combination. I was going to try to force myself to use red, but I think I'm leaning away from that right now. And I know they included these purple, actually the purple would probably go in there well too, because there's purple in here. Maybe I'll use those. Yeah, every once in a while they have something in here that I don't think quite matches, and I think they put those in there because some of these red jaspers are purple, but I didn't get any purple in my mix, I will say. So. Oh, and I forgot though, we said we were going to do a dangle though, didn't we? So now I'm rethinking that. Oh, yeah. You know what? All right. So we won't. I'm not going to use those as the dangle. We'll figure out something for the dangle, but. All right. I was thinking I kind of wanted to use these with the cactus. And I don't need all of those out, but they're out now. So I'm trying to think if so we could kind of make that theme for like Cinco de Mayo or some sort of a Mexican fiesta. You know, I keep seeing pictures of things that people did with all the different colors, but I don't know. My beads are a different shade here. All right. These spacers are pretty. I think we got a combo here. So maybe I'll save the purple ones. Since they don't quite go with this bead. These are fun ceramic beads. They, I don't know where she got them, but I got the Bargain Bead Box person, but I have bought them in broken bead there. Up in Sedona, there's a shop that sells them, and I thought they were also the ones that make them, which they might be. All right, so we're not going to use the purple beads. We're going to make this as sort of a Cinco de Mayo maybe we could work in some, now that I took that purple out of there, I think we could actually work in some of this red here. So I know you guys are having to listen to me and I'm just like all over the place, huh? Yeah, we got to throw in a couple spacer beads, because now these could be considered spacer beads. And I love the fact that they used copper in here. All right, so remember when you're using stretch cord, some people do put it on needles. I find that as long as your hole's big enough, it's good. Now you'll need more than the length. I'm gonna go ahead and just string onto here, I think, and then we'll go from there. So think about whatever you string on first, your knot may end up in that. So I actually think I'm going to start with one of these spacer beads. All right. And if you've only got like the half 0.5 millimeter, then you want to double it up, but that's why I use the 0.7, especially if you're using gemstones, because they can kind of scratch your cord. I'm going to just put some of these on here and see what it looks like. And the other thing to remember is we're using chunky beads, so we'll have to make sure that we make it a little longer. Kind of like that. Now for, you know, kind of the centerpiece on our bracelet, we're going to use this ceramic bead. All right. So I'm actually trying to save some of my white beads to use with the cactus. So that's why we're using less of those. It's kind of pretty. I like that. And I don't know that I'd have just put those together if I'd started without this. So, all right. Now, obviously, we only have one of those big beads, so now we're going to be doing more with this just the white beads, obviously. You know. You know, the other thing to remember with stretch bracelets, you know, you can use different size beads. A lot of times you'll just see them, you know, as one size and one color beads, right? And maybe something to cover up the to cover the knot, right? All right, let's see how long that is. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you my the bracelet sizer here. I got this on Amazon. I've been wanting one for a while, and they used to be super expensive. Somebody's obviously 3D printing these. So right now, if I were to seal this up and not stretch it, just have it sit there, it's only 6.5. And the reason to use something like that instead of your ruler is that, you know, the beads have to stick out from your the bigger the beads, they stick out a little more, so you need some extra room. But anyways, if you buy one of these, look at the if you look at the description, they had like new and they had used. If you look under used, which I wouldn't normally buy used, they actually had some that they said they had slight flaws in them, and they were much cheaper. And I can tell you, I could not find anything wrong with this when I got it. So, all right, that looks like it's going to be maybe just right or too long. So that ends up being about 7.5. So let's see what that looks like on me. So for me, that's very loose. So I'm going to take that last chunk off and see if that works. So, you know, that is the other thing, is if you're making it for yourself or you have a fairly normal size wrist, which I don't know if I do or not. I think mine might be a little smaller than some people, but that looks to be about right. All right. So let's move the stuff down here a little bit. And I'm going to cut. I could stretch it first, but I'm going to do that with it. All right, so now I'm going to grab both ends and I'm going to carefully pre-stretch. Like I said, you don't want to overdo it. All right. Now we're going to tie it. So I'm going to do a surgeon's knot. So do right over left and under. And you want to kind of hold it tight. And then as you're holding it, the next one you want to do 2 under. So that's what's called the surgeon's knot. And then you tighten that up. And then I like to do just one more. You don't really have to, but now in this case, I'm gonna easily be able to slide it in there. Now you could put a little glue on there. If you're gonna do glue, put just hypo cement. Do not use super glue. Super glue will make it come apart. Okay. Since I have such a big hole to put this knot in, we're gonna do one more before I trim this. All right. And a lot of times I do not glue it. Now, it would be easy peasy to pop that into this copper bead because there's a nice big hole. Or I can try to pull it into this bead. Now, the advantage of pulling it in here is it's going to be hard for it to unravel. Okay, but if I was going to do that, I probably shouldn't have trimmed it. And here's where you have to be real careful. So that's not going to happen, but a lot of times I don't trim my ends ahead of time, but until after I've pulled it into there. All right, it's almost, and like I said, you don't want it to, undo or something. I am going to actually just use my bead but it's not going anywhere. All right. So see, you can't even see the knot on there. All right, so since we have to use wire, because we said we were going to do this, right? Let's design a little dangle. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to make a little head pin. All right, so remember how we do that? We cut a little bit off, and then, if you want to just do the flower one, you make 2 turns around and then turn your thing up. Now you could just use those loops and string your beads on there, but this comes out a little flatter if you do it this way. So then I'm pushing my wire back through. Now this does not work with super thick wire. Okay, so 22 gauge is okay. Works better with 24. We're gonna put that in our nylon jaw pliers, and then I'm just going to pull this through until it's nice and flat against the side of my pliers. Okay, so now I have a head pin, and maybe we'll use one of our little spacers. And maybe a turquoise and that's probably enough of a dangle. Could use let's see. Do I want to put a bead cap on here? I know it's crazy, Paula, talking about using bead caps, because you know what? I almost never do. But let's see if I just felt like it needed something Actually, that my husband sneezing. You know what? I might skip the spacer bead and use two bead caps just to make this a little more interesting. All right. Actually, I think that makes kind of a cute angle. All right, so now I am going to make a loop here. And here's where you have to decide. So do I want to make this loop directly onto this bracelet? Or do I want to make this like a charm and put it on a jump ring? I think it'll dangle a little better if I put it on a jump ring, so let's do that. All right, so we're just going to finish our loop here. I turned that 90 degrees. We're going to come around our round nose pliers all the way around, so we're sticking out below. See, we have a ring like that, and we're going to grab that loop with our pliers, and we are going to just I wrap it around until it fills in the space that's there. Now, some jewelry designers will tell you should only have like 2.5 loops. You should always have the same. And if you're one of those people that's good enough that you can always get the exact same spacing in there, bravo to you. I am not that person. So I wrap in whatever I need to fill in the space. But then you also have like Candy Cooper, who, you know, I love her style, who does what she calls messy wraps, and she just wraps it so it looks like, you know, kind of like a bird's nest kind of thing. But all right, there's our little charm. So let me see. I thought I had. I did. So I did pull out some jump rings just in case. These are not, I do have bigger jump rings. Actually, I might want to use the bigger one. Is there a big one in there? Actually, or a couple big ones in here. Let's see if I can grab one of the bigger ones. So find where your jump ring connects. These are, I have to say, these are very tight jump rings, and I'm impressed. All right, and then I make that on top, and sometimes, like that one, I couldn't see where it opened, but I could feel it with my nail, so. All right. So remember, you twist sideways. So now we got to decide where we want to put it. So I'm thinking maybe like there or something might look good. I could put it right next to my bead, but I think we'll put it in here. All right. So now I'm still holding the one side, and I'm going to grab the other side. I kind of grab a length of it, not just the tip. And we're going to twist our rings back. And then, like I said, give it a couple little twists to make sure you got it tight. And there we go. Woo-hoo. What do you guys think? So we used wire. Something off my desk. At some point I'll actually clean my desk. So we used wire for our dangle. Spacer beads, we have these copper spacer beads. Glass beads are little rondelles are glass beads, right? Stretch cord, so we made it on stretch cord. And obviously we made a bracelet, and we designed something for holidays. So I'm using these sort of Southwesty style in the multiple colors, and I think this would be a perfect one for, you know, the upcoming Day of the Dead or a Mexican fiesta. Let's put this on. Now remember, when you're doing stretch cord, you don't want to stretch it, you want to roll it, right? So roll it onto your hand, and that'll make it last a lot longer. So, what do you think there? All right, woo! And I used some of this red because actually I think this came out the colors I like. So, alrighty. Well, thanks for joining me. Again, you know, if you ever have any questions about the Bead Stash challenge cards, just let me know. I'm happy to answer them. I'm going to don't forget to give us some likes, or likes on our video, likes on our page. So, you know, free way to help a small business, especially one that does most of their stuff online, is to like and follow our pages, and you know, like our posts. It helps us get seen and more people to see us. As a reminder, you can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which is where all these videos reside after our lives on Facebook. Facebook will keep them for 30 days, but if you're looking for anything older than 30 days, then you'll need to look on YouTube. And starting, I think, April of last year, all of our videos from April and on are there, and then select few from before then are on the page, or because I managed to save them, but I didn't save a lot of the projects that were just basic stringing or lots of you know, wrapped loops, because we do those a lot, so you get to see how to do them fairly often, right? So, but anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. If you guys bought a quail kit and you're making quail, I want to see your quail. And if you haven't, I still have kits, and you can order them from me, and I have them on the website, or you can just direct message me and order them. And the videos are out there. You do get the written directions. The only thing you don't get is wire. If you need wire and you want blue wire, let me know, and I'll give you a price for it. I don't have it on my website because I don't have enough to sell it there, but I do have extra of the Softex blue wire. Sorry, things are about to fall down again on it. So anyways, all right, I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you Thursday, and Thursday we are going to make a bail. We're going to use a magnetic clasp and bead caps or cones, and we used bead caps today. That's pretty good. And head pins. We used head pin today. So all those things are going to be in our design. And our design will have at least 3 different components, which obviously it will if we use all those things, right? So, like I said, this is a very generic draw, and I will have to think about what I'm going to make. But we'll turn the ideas loose once I get off. Once I get off of here and have some time to be thinking about it. All right. you know, I'm also in the process of trying to ramp up, you know, I have assembled products at a store near here, which just opened a second location. So I'm trying to give them some more inventory. It's called the Freebird Shop. Right, they have shops in Catalina and Oro Valley. My stuff is not at the Oro Valley store yet because I need to give them some more stuff. But here in Arizona, you know, a lot of places, summer is the busy season. In Arizona, our busy season really starts in October because everybody starts coming to town and it's a nice time to be here. Plus, you know, you got the holidays on top of that. So anyways, when I'm not working on stuff for our weekly projects, you know, I have to keep up and make some inventory for other places. So if you ever want something assembled, I do sell some of those. I just don't have them on my website, but I can give you prices if you contact me directly. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. Look forward to seeing what you're doing. Oh, another show, Janelda. All right. So, well, who knows what we're making? Because, like I said, it's wide open, but it'll have a bail, bead caps, and some of these other things. So, I actually, you know, I'm starting to think about some ideas. So we'll get there. All right. Have a great week. Thanks again for all your support. And I will see you all on Thursday. Bye.